So when I was shuffling out the spread, the energy felt very, very tense. Okay, I feel almost like you're wound up really, really, really tight, either because you have certain expectations that things were going to go a certain way and you're getting frustrated that things are not moving the way that you want, or you have a lot of responsibilities that you're taking care of and you feel almost like it's a whack-a-mole game where you hammer something down and then something else pops up. So it's like needing to take care of responsibilities. Like as soon as you think you're done with one thing, another thing pops up. So I see a lot of people doing a lot of like crisis management or just doing a lot of work where things could be a little bit repetitious, where you take care of one thing and then another thing is coming at you. Now, on the one hand, you guys like it and you guys thrive in an environment where you're kept on your toes, you're kept busy. Like, as long as you're busy and productive, you feel really, really happy and you're really proud of yourself. But to a certain extent, you also want to believe in the work that you're doing. You have to feel like the work itself is contributing to something, like a greater good. So no matter how busy you are, as long as you feel like the work is meaningful or the work is contributing to something bigger than yourself, or to, help others, like these great ideals, these great expectations, as long as you believe that there is value to your work, then no matter how busy you are, you will bear with it and you will be okay with it. But I almost feel like there is a situation where you feel like if they were to remove you from where you are and the work that you're doing, they could easily find another person to fulfill the same role. So in a way, the work doesn't feel like a career track. It just feels like you're part of the function. You're like a cog in the machine. And that's where you can feel a little bit jaded with the work that you're doing, or that's where you can feel a little bit disappointed, I feel, in the system, in the way that things are, in the other people's inability to question and to challenge what was already there before. They just follow the herd, they just follow the crowd, and they just feed into this machine, into this system. And then as a result of it, everyone is doing what has already been tried and true, and no one is really breaking out and doing things differently. So I feel like there's a mixed amount of like jadedness, but also just taking care of responsibilities. Okay, so I feel like it's another day in the life of a Virgo. When I shuffled this out, I saw two images, and let me just talk to you about these images. And I'm going to talk about how they tie into the spread and the individual cards. So the first image, quite interesting. I see you as a woman. She's wearing a lab coat, and she looks like a scientist. She's, probably like 30 or 40. She's wearing glasses. She's wearing a white lab coat, and she's holding a banana. And she's kind of like putting the bananas back and forth in her hand. She's kind of pacing around and she's talking to this chimp. The chimp is on the counter, so it looks almost like a chemistry lab. There's a counter, there's a sink, and the chimp is sitting there. And chimpanzees have humanoid features, like they have facial expressions, and they're very, very intelligent creature. But there is definitely some type of a comprehension barrier, obviously, because it's an animal and then it's a person, okay? So you're talking to this chimp and it did something wrong. And so you're kind of like you're telling it either a very intense story where your facial expression changes, and then it's picking up all these cues. It's picking up your energy, it's picking up your facial expressions. It knows when you're sad, it knows when you're happy. And so the woman is just talking, and I think the woman is you, and the woman is just talking while she's like transferring the banana back and forth between her hands. And what's going through the chimp's hand is, why aren't you giving me the banana? What's going on here? I know you're talking, I don't understand you, and I just want the banana. So it's like I feel like you're dealing with somebody who's like that, who could be a little bit more strategic, and who is kind of like very much goal oriented. Let's get to the bottom line. Let's not talk about the problems. Let's talk a little bit more about the solution. Let's not sit there and vent. Let's figure out what we need to do in order to appease a situation or in order to resolve a situation. So I feel like there's definitely some type of a communication barrier between you and another person. And I also feel like two people, or you and a group of people, coming into a situation with different expectations. Okay, coming into a situation with different expectations. You want things to be a certain way and they want things to be a certain way. And I feel like, yes, there is a problem that has arisen as a result of it, but two people can't agree on what exactly the problem is. So first of all, what I'm seeing here in this spread is there has been a grave injustice that you're experiencing, that you're encountering, you're coming into contact with, or you're trying to fix and you're trying to solve. Okay, so I feel like there's a situation here. Some of you might be in the legal profession. Some of you are dealing with like legal paperwork. Some of you are doing work that is, it's like really important stuff that is coming across your desk. Okay, it could be like something very life or death, something that is very, it seems like something very epic, like there's a protagonist and there's a villain. Okay, so whenever, and the reason I say that is I feel like Ten of Swords, somebody got hurt. Seven of Swords, somebody got away with it. So there's like a protagonist, and usually in, you know, a traditional story, the protagonist always rides off in the sunset, always overcomes these obstacles, right? And then the villain might get away with it the first time, but at the end of the story, the villain always gets caught, right? But whatever you're dealing with in this recent situation, I don't feel like it's recent as in, you know, months. I feel like this has been probably within a span of a year. You're dealing with a situation where you're just like, where is the justice? Where's the day of reckoning? Where is the happy ending that is supposed to come as a result? I'm on pins and needles waiting for this situation to unfold, or waiting for justice to be dished out in a situation where the protagonist gets what's coming to him and the villain gets what's coming to him. And I don't even see it. I don't even see how that's possible. I don't even see the end in sight. So there's a situation here that's making you feel a little bit jaded. And it's a situation where you're just like, this is really unfair. This is really unfair. I feel that the people, there's a role reversal. What you feel is the protagonist in your mind, what you feel is the person that you can come to, that you can confide in, turns out to be somebody that, you know, is less than honorable. Whereas somebody that you feel is like, you know, traditionally the antagonist in a situation, in a story, or in some type of a narrative, they also have their own hidden agendas. And going back to what I have been telling you for the past few months, we're dealing with people, okay? People are self-serving, most people, I feel. And we're dealing with situations where you might be dealing with somebody who don't see the same things that you're seeing, and who don't see, or who don't, people who, so for example, if you have a set of problems and you're like, these are clearly problems, why isn't everybody acknowledging them? I feel like to a certain extent, we can't really agree on what is the most dire problem, or what's really a problem that needs to be urgently fixed. We might acknowledge that, yes, it's a problem, but there are other things that are more dire, that are more pressing, that needs to be taken care of before we can tackle this problem. So I almost feel like you might be, you know, going back to that image, complaining or mulling over or contemplating something that is very, very complex, okay? You're venting to this chimpanzee, and you're just like, look at what is wrong with this entire picture. Look at all these problems. And these problems are a long time in the making, okay? The swords just don't get there overnight. It's like a series of bad turns, a series of bad decisions, a series of bad implementation, and it's gotten to this point where there is no return. And then as a result of it, it's really, really hard to resurrect, to resolve, or to even resolve this issue because it's been so deeply entrenched and it's like such a long time in the making that if we were to try to fix it, we have to kind of scrap away everything that has been done before. And I feel like there's a lot of hesitancy from the people around you or the people involved in even wanting to tackle this big problem, even wanting to acknowledge, yes, it's a problem. So it's sort of like this elephant in the room. No one wants to talk about it. Everyone knows it's a problem, but no one really wants to take on the challenge to resolve it. And so it goes unaddressed, it goes unabated, and whoever is kind of the people that are benefiting from it are just going to continue to benefit from it. So there's a situation here where you're definitely it's affecting your ability to have faith in the system, to have faith in rules and regulations. You might have once upon a time felt that, rules and regulations are there for a reason. They allow order in a very chaotic situation. They allow society to run smoothly. They allow things to, be predictable. But at the same time, there might be a situation where people are escaping responsibility, they find loopholes, and they know how to work the system. And that really, really aggravates hardworking people. That really aggravates the hardworking signs, the Capricorns, the Virgos, even the Libras in the zodiac. Okay, so I feel like there's a situation here that is very problematic, and everyone knows it exists. It's that elephant in the room. But what do we do about it? If we acknowledge it, then we have to, actively get our hands dirty and try to resolve it, try to remove these swords one at a time. And I feel like no one is really up to the task. Okay, so there's a situation here. It's very cyclical and it's going unabated and no one is held accountable for it. So that's what I'm feeling here. And it feels to me to be a little bit disheartening. Okay, it feels like it is disheartening. And I just feel like it's taking a lot out of you, just mentally and also emotionally. Okay, like I said, you don't shy away from hard work. You don't mind getting your hands dirty. You're very happy when you're kept busy, but you have to believe in the work that you do in order for you to continue to work hard and to continue to put in those hours and to continue to commit to the things that you're doing if you believe in it. On the other hand, if you don't believe in it, it can make you a little bit bitter and jaded. And I feel like that's what's happening here. And I feel like you're really, really questioning the state of the situation, and you're questioning whether or not your heart is even in it anymore, or even like, how much longer can I endure in this situation, and how much longer realistically am I going to be okay with this? Like, when am I going to be like, no, this is not all right, this is not normal, or this is not a situation that I want to engage in any longer? And I feel like, for some of you, it could be a relationship type of situation where there is some kind of sneaky behavior happening. I feel that. I also feel for some of you, there is definitely somebody in your environment, like an individual that is quite significant to you, that is getting away with things, not held accountable. They're getting away with things. And I feel like as long as they're getting away with it, they don't see it being a problem because, they're self-serving. And so that's what I'm feeling, okay? The other image that I saw when I shuffled the cards, I see this train. It's like a steam engine machine. It's a freight train, no passengers. It's going up a steep hill, and it's a very, very steep hill, so it's chugging along. And then there are workers in the engine room, and they have to shovel coals into the engine, the combustion engine, in order to keep the train going, right? So the conductor is just like, more coal. And then there are like 6 workers, men, all shoveling coal into the machine. So there's this giant pile of coal, they're shoveling it in, and it keeps chugging along. And so it seems to me as if there's a situation here where there's always more work. It's like once you think you're done with something, there's more in the pipelines, and it's like rinse, repeat. Okay, so there's something that is very either very monotonous, or something that is a task in front of you that is very daunting, a task that might require a lot of coordination from all the 6 people working together. No one can kind of renege on their responsibilities, because if one person is like, I'm tired, or my arms are, you know, aching, or my biceps are like cramping up, I can't shovel any more coal, then the train is going to slip down the slope because there's not enough coal being fed. So there's a situation here where success is really much contingent upon group work, and everyone has to carry their burden. Everyone has to carry their weight, and whoever is the weakest link, I feel like it's going to create a lot of problems for other people on the same team. So teamwork and coordination, and you know, just being able to trust that the people around you have your back, and to be able to trust that when push comes to shove, that everyone is going to be on board, that everyone is going to be on the same page, that everyone is all in this together. Okay, so on the bright side, I definitely feel like you guys have a good amount of teamwork and coordination, or people in your environment that you can confide in, that you can really, really count on, that you can, you know, trust that when the going gets rough, they're going to be there for me. It's almost like, you know, adversity builds character, and these are people that have been through a lot of adversity, and so you can count on them, that they're going to be around. So in that regards, I feel like, you know, it makes your day, it brightens up the situation, and whatever you have been contending with, as long as you have these group of people, or as long as you feel like everyone's on board, everyone's on the same page, everyone's willing to help one another, then it's going to be okay. And what I have here, you have some really karmic cards, by the way. I have here the 6 of Wands. Sixes are numbers that deals with institutions and stability. Okay, 6 of Wands. This is a tremendous amount of success. Being able to shine, being able to achieve a lot of success. So I definitely feel success is really hinging on a lot of teamwork. We have as well the 6 of Pentacles, generosity. The people around you are very, very, very good hearted people. They have a really good heart. Okay, they're very sympathetic, and I feel like, you know, they do want everyone to thrive. It's almost like we're all in this together, and then whatever benefits we accrue from a situation, then we're going to share it amongst each other. So it's almost like no one is individually, no one's a winner. It takes a team, it takes concerted effort for everybody to benefit from this major win. And then we also have the 6 of Swords, sailing over troubled water, whatever rough patches that you've been hitting, and whatever this situation is right here, where you feel a little bit jaded and a little bit like just disheartened. You're going to be able to sail away past it, and you're going to be able to see a clear course ahead of you. Okay, this is smooth sailing. This is like being able to know exactly what you're doing, and then the work just flows. Okay, so whatever snags that you've had along the way, whatever situation where you feel like, you know, it's like you clear up things off your desk, and then there's more work in the pipelines. You're going to be able to come up with processes or methods, or ways to streamline the work, so that you're not going to be stuck doing it. You're going to transition into a state of flow, where you know where things are supposed to go, you know exactly what you're doing, and all the steps that are necessary in order to get the things done. Okay, So they're really, really telling you that, you know, the worst is over, and they're telling you now pretty much it is time to reap your rewards. And I also feel like there's going to be somebody coming into this situation to rectify it and to find a solution for it. Ten of Swords, okay? And then this person coming in, we have here the, this is the Knight of Swords. I don't see this as a physical person. For some of you, it could be an air sign, an Aquarius, a Gemini, or a Libra. They, if you have been contending with them and they're the ones that has created problems, I feel like they're coming back in to rectify the situation. I'm almost hearing like, you know, oh, I messed up. I'm going to fix it. I'm going to fix it. Don't worry. I'm going to fix it. So I feel like there is a wrong being righted, or a person coming in order to fix this situation. For those of you who are dealing with some type of an injustice in terms of like legal issues, or even a problem that is so deeply entrenched, it's like so complex, you might not know how to unravel it. Like you might not know how to disassemble and take all the pieces apart in order to figure out where does the problem stem. So I see something systemic, like a systemic problem that's not going away. It's very pervasive, and one person will not be able to solve the situation. It takes a concerted effort. It takes a team. It takes like all the people to put their heads together to be able to crowdsource. And, you know, it's like putting all the brains together to be able to resolve a situation, unravel it, understand it, and come up with some type of a game plan in order to fix it. And it is going to be coming through, okay? So let me just say, I just feel like, you know, this month is so short, but across the board, I've done a lot of readings for the signs, and I feel like there has been some major awakening for a lot of the signs. And I feel like for earth signs in general, for this month, the awakening has been very, very internal. Okay? It's almost like, okay, let's acknowledge that elephant in the room. And I feel like for Capricorns, it might have been the same way too. Let's acknowledge that elephant in the room. Let's just figure out a solution. Let's not deny that this is a problem anymore. And let's not try to, you know, resolve it. Let's think really long and hard, and especially getting the people that are responsible for a situation, holding them, you know, like telling them to be the ones to fix it. But I also feel like it does take a concerted effort or a lot of coordination in order to come up, I guess, with the best practices in order to resolve it. Okay, so I do feel the frustration, it's almost coming to an end. There's going to be some really good news coming through. Okay, we have the Judgment card. This is usually the contact. Okay, good news, communication, whatever comes in is very, very, very sudden, and then it's going to offer you a major, major solution in order for you to kind of sail away from this situation. I see for some of you in an academic setting. Okay, maybe you've had a lot of like stop and go type of energy regarding your academic accomplishments. So for example, you might be working on a grant. You might be working on a project where you finish up parts of the project. They give you a grant, and to continue the next phase. And I feel like you're hitting some type of a creative block or a writer's block, and then you're going to be able to overcome that. So I do see it in this spread. I also feel as well, for some of you, you might be like doing your thesis, senior's thesis for, you know, if you're an undergrad, or master's thesis, if you're in grad school, or like a PhD, or publishing something, and you have stumbled upon like a major writer's block. Like, where do I go next? Which solution should I try? And I don't see any financial worries. I do feel like, you know, if you're looking for grants and funding, this is a really, really good time for you to write that proposal, because this is like money coming through from an institution, Six of Pentacles here. So I feel like the situation can be alleviated. So if you have a really good project, you're trying to get off the ground, you're trying to get financiers, or you're trying to get funding in whatever capacity, it is going to be coming into the picture. And I feel that it's something long awaited, and it's something where you have to have the confidence to submit it and to, like the whole peer review process, or the whole process where you have to go in front of a panel of people to pitch whatever it is that you have created. It's not a comfortable process for you guys in general, because you guys are not usually the ones to do the sales pitch. You're better behind the scenes, but I feel like you're called upon to kind of slip into the limelight, to pitch something, to sell something, to show something. And you have to learn to be comfortable in that role, because I feel like you know it in and out. And because you can express yourself, you guys are really, really articulate. You're able to kind of get people on your side, get financiers, get people on board. Another thing that I want you to be very careful about, and I mentioned before, the chimp and the scientist, right? Animals are really, really intelligent. Okay, so I'm not dissing any animals here, but I definitely feel like you have to kind of use a little bit more visuals. So visual aids would be a lot more enticing if you're doing a presentation, if you're trying to pitch something like a sales pitch. Dumbing down your language as well, so that it eases comprehension. If you're dealing with a mixed audience, from different age groups, different demographics, different life experiences, you want to make sure that you are relatable. Okay, so the whole scientist vibe. Scientists are great. Okay, they're great at research, but when it comes to like being relatable to the common layperson, or to the person that where it matters, you need to make sure that you can appeal to a broad spectrum of the audience. Okay, so I will leave it at that. I hope the situation eases up for you guys. Okay, and best of luck with this month. I know it's not the easiest month. The energy feels very tense across the board for all the other signs as well. There are a lot of like last minute changes and transformations, and I feel like the changes are like growing pains. They need to happen because they need to. It's sort of like we sometimes situations have to hit rock bottom in order for everybody to acknowledge that it's a problem, and then things are going to veer off in a better direction moving forward. Okay, so hang in there, in there. So once again, for those who have been emailing me still about private readings, I'm no longer doing private readings. I do have a person. Her name is Bridget. She is a psychic and she is amazing. So if you haven't already, book a reading with her. I put a link to her description, to her scheduling website, in the description box down below. And if you would like a reading for yourself, or for anybody that you know, or anybody who might need some spiritual guidance, I highly recommend her. Okay, so take care of yourself. I'll talk to you guys soon.